I'd been in love with Sophia for 5 years, but after discovering she was in love with my best friend, I decided to give up. I requested a seat change. I stopped eating with them, studying with them, and walking home with them. Before my mother and I moved to Austin, I stuffed the scarf I had hand-knitted for her, the one I never had the courage to give her, into the desk of the student who sat in front of her. I left a casual note. "I think you're a nice person, so this is for you." I never thought I'd see Sophia again. Yet when we met once more, the scarf that was meant for the person in front of her was wrapped around her neck. And when she saw the woman standing shoulder to shoulder with me, her eyes turned red as she asked, "You don't want me anymore?" The day the school track meet in Beverly Hills ended, a sensational piece of gossip spread like wildfire. Sophia, the cool, top student, was dating Mason, the most popular guy in school. As a mutual friend to both of these campus celebrities, I was immediately swarmed by curious classmates the moment I returned to school. "The three of you walk together every day," someone said. "You must know the inside story." I looked at their prying, curious eyes and thought of the video I had seen not long ago, a bitter taste filling my mouth. If it hadn't been for Mason running the 1,000-meter race, collapsing from exhaustion on the track, and Sophia being the first to rush to his side to help him to the nurse's office, her face etched with worry and captured by countless phones, I would have never known. I would have never known Sophia was in love with Mason. I should have realized it sooner. Several times when Mason came to find us, I had seen it through the classroom window, the joy in Sophia's eyes when she looked at him. How could I have been so slow? Sophia and Mason, whether in terms of family background or looks, were a match made in heaven. The school's queen and its king. If Sophia were to fall for someone, of course it would be Mason. Perhaps walking alongside them for all these years had gradually made me forget that I was fundamentally from a different social class. It was only because my mom worked for the Rockwell family, Sophia's family, that I had this temporary intersection with their lives. In reality, I had never truly been part of their circle. A single piece of clothing Mason bought casually was worth my mom's entire monthly salary. Sophia's shoes were never less than 4 figures. Thinking of this, I pushed the birthday gift I had prepared for Sophia long ago deeper into my desk. My emotions cooling, I said, "I don't know anything about their business." "How could you not know?" someone retorted, and others chimed in. "You're not trying to cover for them, are you? Don't lie to us. We won't tell the teachers." Yeah, the look on her face when she saw Mason fall. "Don't tell us she doesn't like him. We won't believe it." The questions from my classmates came one after another, surrounding my desk so tightly there was no way out. It was the first time in my 2 years at this school that I had ever been the center of so much attention. But at that moment, I hated it. I couldn't hold back my emotions any longer. Already said, "I don't know. Are you deaf?" It was the first time I'd ever lost my temper. Everyone froze. Someone shifted aside, creating a small gap, and through it I saw Sophia and Mason standing outside the crowd. I didn't know when they had returned from the nurse's office. The handsome pair stood together, shoulders touching, a truly eye-catching sight that drew gazes from the classroom and the hallway. Sophia's indifferent eyes met mine. "Come with me for a moment." Under the curious and gossipy stares of everyone, she called me out, completely unconcerned about any misunderstanding. In truth, there was no need for such concern. No one would ever think there was anything between her and me. "Why did you make Mason run the 1,000-meter for you today?" Sophia's questioning tone was laced with blame, and my heart instantly plunged into an icy abyss. "I told you before, if you don't want to run, don't sign up. Bailing at the last minute, making Mason clean up your mess, you almost got him seriously hurt." She had already convicted me. I wanted to tell her that I hadn't signed up for the 1,000-meter, that someone had played a prank and written my name down. I wanted to tell her it wasn't that I didn't want to run, but that my mother had fainted today and I had been at the hospital with her all day. I wanted to tell her I didn't ask Mason to run for me. I had simply told the sports committee member to find a replacement, but I had no idea how it ended up being Mason. Yet as the words reached my lips, seeing her cold gaze, the desire to explain vanished. She was in love with Mason, regardless of my reasons. The fact was that I had indirectly caused him harm. She didn't care if it was unintentional. She was still angry with me, angry that I had hurt the person she loved. Explaining wouldn't calm her down. "I'm sorry," I said, lowering my head. Sophia frowned. "You shouldn't be apologizing to me. You should be apologizing to Mason." Okay, perhaps my agreement was too quick, too decisive, because she seemed taken aback. Her frown deepened, her dark eyes staring at me as if she wanted to say something more. But in the end, she just grunted in acknowledgement. Without looking at her, I turned and walked towards Mason's classroom. Mason wasn't in the same class as Sophia and me. Usually, after class, for lunch and on the way home, Mason would come find us, and the three of us would leave together. I never thought much of it before, just that the three of us were good friends. But now I realized I was just a giant third wheel, getting in their way every single day, hindering their time together. They were probably tired of me not taking the hint. I didn't know before, so it didn't matter. But now that I did, I wouldn't be so shameless as to stick around. For several days, I stopped joining them for lunch on the rooftop. After school, I'd find an excuse to stay behind, refusing to walk with them. When they made plans for the library over the weekend, and Mason invited me, I didn't go. Perhaps my sudden avoidance was too obvious, because Sophia finally noticed. When Mason came to get us after school again, and I had just claimed I hadn't finished my homework, Sophia walked up to my desk. "Which homework aren't you done with?" Her questioning tone was so sharp, I felt a pang of guilt. "A lot." "How much is a lot?" "You've been working on it for days, and you're still not done." "I'm slow." "I don't get it." "If you don't get it, why don't you come to me?" Sophia's relentless questioning, one query after another, made the emotions I'd been bottling up for days threaten to spill over. Just as I was about to lose control, Mason walked in and interrupted Sophia. "Why are you getting so worked up?" Mason punched my shoulder lightly. "Forget the homework for today. It's Sophia's birthday. Aren't you coming?" The mention of her birthday startled me. Across from me, Sophia's cool eyes were still fixed on me, as if blaming me for forgetting even this. In the end, Mason dragged me along with them. Sophia was from a wealthy family, so her birthday party was naturally a grand affair. When the three of us arrived, Sophia and Mason, as campus celebrities, were immediately surrounded by people. As for me, I was instantly swallowed by the crowd, completely ignored. For the first time, I felt the gap between us so clearly. I had actually known Sophia since middle school. I only met Mason in high school, but he had a great personality, and we clicked instantly. He started coming to find me often, and over time he got to know Sophia as well. It was only after they became familiar that we discovered Mason also lived in Sophia's gated community. They were neighbors, though they met a bit late. Two people destined for each other will always find their way together, no matter how delayed the encounter. Across the sea of people, I watched Sophia and Mason being playfully pushed together by the crowd. I watched them being teased about how perfect they were for each other. Mason was grinning happily, and Sophia's lips were curling into a slight smile. I suddenly felt that my presence here today was rather pathetic. Since I hadn't brought a gift anyway, I slipped out of the party hall unnoticed. After getting home, I went to bed early, but in the middle of the night, I heard a knock on the door. Thinking it was my mom, I groggily went to open it, only to find Sophia standing there. Her face was grim. "Why did you leave without saying anything?" I didn't understand her unhappy tone. Did my presence or absence really matter to her? In a class group chat, people were posting videos from her party. She seemed to be having a great time. "Where's my birthday gift?" she suddenly asked. I thought of the gift I'd spent months preparing, and then I thought of the video where Mason gave her a scarf worth thousands of dollars. I suddenly felt a wave of embarrassment and shame. It was bad enough that our gifts were the same, but one was absurdly expensive while the other cost only a few dollars to make. And my scarf was even knitted horribly. "I forgot," I said. "I didn't prepare one." Across from me, Sophia's breath hitched. Just as she was about to say something else, footsteps echoed in the hallway. I took a step back and closed the door. Sophia seemed furious that I hadn't prepared a birthday gift for her and ignored me for over a week. Perhaps she thought I would, as always, be the first to show weakness and apologize. But this time I didn't. Instead, I went to the teacher and requested to change my seat, moving away from the desk in front of her. Sophia's special status meant she never had to move during the monthly seat rotations. And as her good friend, I was granted the special privilege of staying put as well. So I had always been her front desk mate. Now that I had suddenly moved, Sophia's face darkened. She pulled me into the stairwell and demanded to know what I was doing. I tried to leave, but she blocked me. During the struggle, Mason came up the stairs and saw us. Even though Sophia and I were doing nothing, when my eyes met Mason's, I felt an inexplicable sense of guilt and shame, as if I'd been caught in the act. That same day, Mason casually asked me, "Do you like Sophia too?" He used the word too, and the meaning was obvious. "Ryan, you're my best friend. I don't want us to fall out over Sophia. You know that, right?" While Mason's tone and attitude were the same as always, he felt like a stranger to me. Or perhaps I had never truly known him, because in the next second, as he heard footsteps approaching, he suddenly missed a step right in front of me and fell down the stairs. Luckily, Sophia appeared just in time to catch him. He then looked at me and said, "We just had a little argument. I wasn't watching my step." The word seemed like an explanation, but felt more like a cover-up. Across a dozen steps, I saw the look in Sophia's eyes as she gazed at me, cold and disappointed. She didn't believe me. My heart sank to the bottom. I turned to leave, but Sophia, her face unusually grim, chased after me and blocked my way in a few strides. "What has gotten into you lately?" He said it himself. He wasn't watching his step. "What? Are you going to blame me for it?" "Apologize." She gripped my wrist tightly, her grip incredibly strong. "Are you going to apologize or not?" Her cold gaze was sharp enough to pierce a heart, as if I wouldn't be allowed to leave today unless I apologized. After a minute of silent confrontation, I swallowed the bitterness in my throat. "Sophia," I began. She frowned. I said, word by word, "You're a complete idiot." She flinched, staring at me with a look of astonishment. I shook her hand off and walked back to the classroom. It was the boldest thing I had ever said to Sophia, and it was the last thing I ever said to her in high school. Because soon after, my mother and I moved to Austin. The day we left the Rockwell's employment, I hesitated for a long time, unable to bring myself to throw away the scarf. So I secretly went back to the school, stuffed the scarf into the desk of the person who sat in front of Sophia, and left a casual note. "I think you're a nice person, so this is for you." I didn't know who would be sitting at that desk when school started, nor did I know if the thing I left behind would be thrown away like trash. I left my feelings for Sophia behind, along with that scarf, in the past. After changing schools, I deleted Sophia's contact information and got a new phone number. To quickly adapt to the new environment and not let it affect my studies, I buried myself in books throughout my senior year. The demanding schoolwork left me almost no time to think about the past. 5 years flew by. I never thought I would run into Sophia again, but one day, while delivering a file to a client, I was caught in a sudden downpour on a mountain in Aspen and got stranded at a hotel. I ran right into her in the lobby. Outside, a storm raged. Inside, it was noisy and chaotic. But as our eyes met across 5 years of time, my world instantly fell silent. I recognized her immediately, and Mason beside her. 5 years, and they were still together. Although I had long suspected this possibility, seeing it for real still made my heart stop for a beat. I desperately hoped they wouldn't recognize me. I was a complete mess, while they were elegantly dressed, surrounded by a group of peers who treated them like royalty, exuding an air of calm that stood in stark contrast to me. From their conversation, it seemed they were here on a special trip. "What's wrong, Sophia?" someone asked, noticing she had stopped moving. Sophia kept looking at me, her cool eyes flickering with an unreadable light, as if she were suppressing some intense emotion. I pretended not to know them and walked past. I sensed her start to move, and I quickened my pace. But in the next second, she grabbed my wrist, planning to leave without a word again. Her questioning voice was trembling and hoarse. I tried to pull away, but her grip was incredibly tight. She wouldn't let go. "Let go," I said. She frowned, about to say something, but her friends had already caught up. "Sophia, who are you saying hi to? Did you run into a friend?" Their eyes all fell on me. When they saw Sophia holding my hand, their expressions varied. Someone glanced furtively at Mason. Mason forced a smile. "Ryan, what are you doing here? And why do you look such a mess?" As he spoke, he subtly positioned himself between Sophia and me, seemingly out of concern for my situation. At his words, everyone's attention shifted to me, seeing my soaked clothes, which altogether probably didn't cost more than $50. These wealthy young men and women looked astonished. Someone blurted out, "Sophia, you actually know people like this?" Another, more direct person said, "That briefcase is a knockoff, right? I remember there's only one of that model in the world, and my sister gave it to her boyfriend." There was no malice, but I was still stung by words like people like this and knockoff. The truth was, I didn't care about designer brands, and had no intention of buying fakes. This briefcase was given to me by my boss at the law firm. She had docked half a month of my lunch money for it, saying that I represented the firm's standards and couldn't look too shabby when meeting clients. If I couldn't afford the real thing, at least carry a good knockoff that looked decent. But now, the first time I'd ever taken it out, I ran into Sophia and her friends, and they called me out on it in public. I was so embarrassed I couldn't lift my head, afraid to meet Sophia's eyes. I imagined she was probably looking at me with the same disdain as before, thinking I was an embarrassment. Sophia, Mason, what's your relationship with him? Sophia looked at me, hesitating for a moment. He's my... Seeing her struggle, I finished for her high school classmate. We weren't very close. As soon as I said it, her face fell. Ryan, since we've run into each other, why don't you hang out with us? Mason suddenly threw an arm around my shoulder, acting friendly. He seemed close, but I caught the fleeting look of disgust in his eyes. I used to be naive and missed these surface details. But now, after being toughened up by my boss, I saw Mason for what he was, a two-faced backstabber. He was friendly to me back then, probably because I was close to Sophia. But now that I had no value to him, why was he doing this? No thanks, I said coldly. I have things to do. You guys have fun. I was about to leave when Sophia blocked me again. What things do you have to do? Her tone was unfamiliar and demanding, just like on her birthday 5 years ago when she'd asked, "Which homework aren't you done with?" I suddenly felt a surge of irritation, my expression turning cold. What's it to you? She was taken aback. Then her face darkened too. Ryan, it's been 5 years. You've really grown some nerve, haven't you? You don't even say hello when you see me, and now you have this attitude. You left without a word back then, and I haven't even gotten angry yet. Do you know Ryan, we always thought of you as a friend. I thought you did too. I can't believe you transferred without telling us. Sophia and I were really hurt. Mason quickly cut Sophia off, sounding sad. But his intention of claiming ownership was glaringly obvious. Sophia stood beside him, not refuting anything, wearing the same expression of blaming me, of being hurt by me. I was trying to figure out how to get away from these two when a familiar voice cut in from the side. Ryan, get over here. The voice was clear and lazy, the tone commanding with a hint of disdain. It was none other than my boss, Eva. Everyone turned to look. Eva stood lazily at the hotel entrance. Though she was also beautiful, her arrogant aura was more prominent. Eva, what are you doing here? Asked the girl who had questioned my briefcase. Eva didn't even glance at her, walking straight to me. Are you a turtle? Why do you just hide in your shell? Even pigs have mouths, don't you? She looked at me with an expression of utter disappointment. Sophia frowned and interjected. Who are you? What right do you have to talk to him like that? I pay him. What do you think? The words were ambiguous, and Sophia's face changed slightly, as did the faces of the others behind her. Eva's sister, however, spoke up. Eva, is he your boyfriend? The briefcase you bought, you gave it to him, so it's not a fake. It's not a fake. I was stunned. Beside me, Eva shot a cool glance at her sister, Haley. Should I buy you a megaphone to wear on your head? You could be a little louder. Eva snapped at everyone she met, even her own sister. While everyone was still reeling from the shock, she pulled me away, and so I didn't see the fleeting darkness that crossed Sophia's eyes. Behind me, she tried to follow, but Mason held her back. It's my birthday today. Can you not leave? It makes me lose face. There were too many people stranded on the mountain, and all the hotel rooms were booked. I couldn't afford a presidential suite and had already gotten permission from the front desk to spend the night in the lobby. I never expected Eva to show up. It was only when I followed her into the presidential suite she had booked that I finally felt like I had my soul back. Boss, what are you doing here? She took off her coat and sat down comfortably on the sofa. Can't I have been here all along? If you were here all along, why did you make me deliver the file today? And my colleagues at the firm said you had a court hearing today that wouldn't end until 4 in the afternoon. I wanted to ask, but I didn't dare. After all, Eva was notorious in the industry for her sharp tongue, her love of arguing and scolding people, just like a moment ago. I had only been at the firm for 3 months, and she had already berated me no less than 30 times. The thing she called me most often was stupid. Stupid mind, stupid mouth. As I was lost in thought with my head down, my vision suddenly darkened. A beautiful face appeared abruptly in front of me, startling me. Boss, Tis. Eva stared at me for a few seconds before pulling back and standing up straight. You're not even that handsome. How did you get caught up in such a cliché love triangle? How do you know about my relationship with him? Shouldn't you be refuting my first sentence, huh? Eva looked at me, exasperated. Ryan, when someone calls you ugly, aren't you supposed to insult them back? Why are you so calm about it? but you were telling the truth. Eva was speechless. Even if it's the truth, you have to fight back. Don't you have any dignity? When things happen, spend less time reflecting on yourself and more time blaming others. Understand, but you're my boss. So what if I'm your boss? I'm your boss, so I can scold you whenever I want. She's the person you like, so she can insult you whenever she wants. Ryan, you always find excuses for your own weakness. A famous person once said, "A man who is not wild at 20 will never be anything." You're already 22, boss. That same famous person also said, "A man who is still wild at 30 is also nothing." Ryan, do I look like I'm nothing? Eva scoffed. The above quote only applies to ordinary people like you. But for a genius like me, I have the capital to be wild whenever I want. Boss, you're not just a little narcissistic. Wrong. People without substance are narcissistic. People like me are just self-aware. She paused. Then, as if remembering something, she exploded. Ryan, I'm not 30 yet. Don't you dare round up. It was true. My colleagues at the firm said the boss had become particularly sensitive about her age after her 20th birthday. I don't know how Sophia got my contact information. I had just showered and was about to sleep when I received her call. Are you with your boss right now? It had only been a few hours, and she had already figured out my relationship with Eva. I was a bit surprised, but then I remembered Sophia wasn't an ordinary person. Her connections were probably extensive, so finding out wasn't that difficult. If you have something to say, say it. I'm going to bed. Ryan, I've been thinking about something for years, and I can't figure it out. Why did you become like this? Why do you seem so angry with me? And your attitude towards Mason is so cold, too. Isn't he your best friend? It was his birthday today. Did you forget? I felt my recently calmed emotions starting to rise again. I don't know why, but Sophia always had the ability to stir my emotions, whether sad or angry. Perhaps what Eva said tonight had an effect on me, because I couldn't stop myself from retorting. Sophia, we're not friends. We never were. There were a few seconds of silence on the other end. Is that what you've always thought? Yes. How can two people with an unequal relationship be friends? In high school, people used to joke that I was the sidekick to the school's king and queen. You never denied it back then. You even laughed along. So all those times we spent together, what were they? You mean the king and queen and their little follower? How could you think that? I never thought that. And Mason never thought that either. You really know Mason well, don't you? So sure he never thought that. Ryan, do you have any idea what you're saying? All these years you were gone, he was always concerned about you, thinking about you. He was miserable every day, and you're saying this behind his back. Ryan, stop talking to her. If you're not disgusted, I am. Eva had come in at some point, snatched the phone from my hand, and hung up. Just before she did, I could faintly hear Sophia's anxious voice. Why is there a woman's voice in your room? Is that Eva? Aren't you just her subordinate? Why are you still together so late at night, Ryan? But no one answered her. Only the dial tone remained. I looked at Eva, who was wearing only a bathrobe tied rather loosely, and hesitated before advising. Boss, you should probably put on more clothes. What's wrong? Don't I look good? It's not that. It's the middle of the night, a man and a woman alone. Ryan, Eva said with an incredulous look. What is your mind filled with? Thinking about this nonsense all day? No wonder you're just a legal assistant. Boss, I'm a legal assistant because I haven't passed the bar yet, and I'm young. Eva's face darkened, as expected, when her age was mentioned. After a moment, she said gloomily, Ryan, if you could use the talent you have for pissing me off on that scumbag couple tonight, I would be much more gratified. Scumbag couple? I was shocked by Eva's choice of words. She looked so elegant and refined, but why did her speech always ruin her image? Remembering something, I suddenly said, Boss, that briefcase you gave me, what about the briefcase? You think I overcharged you? I already had someone give me a discount on it. No negociations. If you don't want it, throw it away. No refunds. Without listening, she turned and walked away. The rain fell all night and still hadn't stopped, forcing everyone to remain stranded. Eva seemed very busy. From the moment I woke up, I saw her in meetings and on the phone. I had no idea why such a busy person would have impulsively come up the mountain last night, only to get trapped. When I went to the hotel cafeteria for breakfast, I saw Sophia and Mason from a distance. Unsurprisingly, they walked over to me, followed by their 3 friends, one of whom was Eva's sister. Can we sit here? Sophia asked. As she got closer, I noticed her complexion was terrible, as if she hadn't slept all night. Had they partied too hard for Mason's birthday last night and stayed up? Before I could respond, She sat down next to me. Mason's expression froze for a second before he silently went to sit on the opposite side. Their three friends, with various expressions, also found seats. I wasn't very hungry to begin with and was about to get up with my tray when Sophia suddenly slammed her chopsticks down. The sound was loud, and people around us stopped to look. Her dark eyes stared at me. Do you have to be like this? I already told you everything clearly on the phone last night. Hearing this, Sophia's face darkened even more. Across the table, Mason's expression also changed, but he still smiled and spoke up. Sophia, I asked you to invite Ryan to my birthday party last night. He never showed up. You didn't forget to tell him, did you? He was so busy last night. How could he have time for us? Busy? What could he be busy with so late at night? Mason, you've wasted all these years thinking about him. Some people are just cold-hearted and not worth your concern. The two of them went back and forth with their passive-aggressive remarks. I couldn't be bothered to deal with it and got up to leave. Sophia's expression changed. She stopped talking and quickly grabbed my arm. Let's talk. Talk about what? Ryan, get over here. Eva suddenly appeared. Her commanding tone made me instinctively shake off Sophia's hand and walk towards her. Boss. Eva's lips curled into a kind smile. What did I tell you last night? Boss, I just don't think arguing is meaningful. Ryan, if you let them walk all over you, I might just die of frustration. And then where would you be? Eva glared at me, her face a mask of disappointment. Haley had been quietly observing the drama since the beginning. Now she sidled up to Eva. What are you doing here? Is it for work? Don't stand so close. Why? You're ugly, and it's offending my eyes. When Eva led me away, I was prepared to be scolded again. But surprisingly, she didn't say anything, just told me to eat up and then get back to work with her. Even though we're trapped here, we must strive to create a working environment, no matter how bad the conditions are. Understand, Ryan? I looked around the luxurious presidential suite, then at Eva's serious face, and nodded hesitantly. I've added a few new points to this case. Revised the contract. Okay. I looked at her new requirements and hesitated slightly. Boss, if we raise the price this much, won't the client be angry? Cooperation is a matter of mutual free will. If she's not happy, she can find someone else. But this case is so difficult. No one can win it for her except me. So confident. Ryan, you must remember, when you are powerful enough, the world will accommodate you. When you are weak, your quietness is seen as dullness, your detachment as cowardice, and your friendliness as sycophancy. Boss, I get it. So your bad temper is just low emotional intelligence. The presidential suite offered complimentary access to a hot spring. Eva said we shouldn't waste it and insisted I go for a soak. The moment I entered, I ran into Mason. But from his posture, it didn't look like he was there to bathe. It seemed he had seen me coming and deliberately followed me. Ryan, can we talk? He had the same expression he wore when he was about to scheme against me before. I watched him warily. What do you want to talk about? Are you angry with me because I accidentally fell 5 years ago and Sophia was too worried and misunderstood you? You're overthinking it. I forgot about what happened 5 years ago. Really? He said with a soft laugh. Then are you still in love with Sophia? In love with Sophia? I had asked myself that question more than once since she reappeared. Before seeing her again, I didn't know. But after our reunion, I seemed to have an answer. It seems you still are, he said. So you came here intentionally to run into her, didn't you? You want to compete with me. We're supposed to be best friends. Stealing your best friend's girlfriend isn't a good look. While I was lost in thought, Mason had already constructed his own narrative. You can't win against me. Not to mention, Sophia and I have been together all these years. We're even planning to get engaged. You were just the son of her family's maid. Her mother never liked you. Otherwise, your mother wouldn't have been kicked out. My mom was forced out. I interrupted in shock. How do you know that? He just smiled again, not answering. Instead, his eyes scanned the surroundings. He suddenly walked to the edge of the water, pretended to slip, and as he fell, he grabbed my hand. This made it look from a distance like I had pushed him. When I heard the splash, I was speechless. He was pulling the same trick again. Sophia must be nearby. Sure enough, Mason's cries for help brought Sophia running. She looked at me, standing by the edge in shock, then at Mason in the water. Just as he looked like he was about to drown, she jumped in and pulled him out. Since they were both dressed for the hot spring, they were wearing very little, and getting soaked made them look quite intimate. As they embraced after getting out of the water, Sophia seemed either unaware or unbothered by the intimacy with Mason. She glared at me furiously. Ryan, I always thought you were careless before, but now I see you're truly malicious. Why are you doing this to Mason? Your anger should have a limit. Sophia, no, it's not like that. Ryan didn't push me. I slipped and fell on my own. You don't have to cover for him. Didn't you see him just now, standing there completely unmoved, not caring about you at all? Mason, he's changed. I cut them off impatiently, walking up to them. Yes, that's right. I pushed him. Eva said that when you're going to ambush someone, you have to be fast and precise, not giving them a chance to react. So I lifted my foot and kicked Mason. He was covered in water, and the ground was slippery, so he went flying back into the pool. Sophia's eyes widened in shock. Before she could react, I kicked her in too. Watch closely. This time I'm the one pushing. The commotion finally attracted the attention of others nearby. But they weren't concerned about anyone drowning. They were more curious about this couple who had no shame, engaging in some kind of public play. Sophia stood in the water, which only came up to her waist, her face a mixture of embarrassment and rage. She had never been so humiliated in her life. She glared at me, her face dark, and roared, "Ryan, what are you screaming about? It's not like you're drowning. It's true. You really do have to let yourself go crazy sometimes." I was only now experiencing the joy Eva must feel every day fighting with the world. She must be having a blast. I don't know how Eva found out about what happened at the hot spring. On the way down the mountain, she praised me for the first time. "Ryan, I thought you were a lost cause, but now it seems there's some hope for you." That was well done. I had just been so angry at the time that I lost my cool and did something so out of character. But now, with my reason returned, I felt timid again in front of Eva, especially when she said she wanted to give me a reward. "No need, boss. I'll reward you with a few big cases. Go back and work overtime." "Oh, thank you so much. What's wrong? Not happy? I'll be working overtime too. You're upset that I'm keeping you company. Boss, you work overtime for yourself. I work overtime to help you make money. See the difference? Clear and logical. Not bad." I thought that after kicking Sophia into the water, she would be furious and never seek me out again. But to my surprise, just a week after I returned to work, I ran into her near the office. "Ryan." As she got closer, I noticed she was wearing a scarf. Seeing the clumsy stitches on it, I frowned instinctively. It was too familiar. "I have something to say to you." I frowned. "What? Are you here to get even on behalf of your boyfriend again?" "Forget it. I'm not apologizing. He's not my boyfriend. He never was." I was surprised, not understanding what this new drama was about. "I'm sorry I misunderstood you before. I didn't realize Mason really did jump into the hot spring himself." As she spoke, she suddenly took off the scarf and handed it to me. "This is yours, isn't it? I've kept it safe all these years. I don't remember giving it to you." "You didn't give it to me, but you were planning to, weren't you?" I was shocked that she knew, but in the next second, a nameless fire surged within me. "So you knew all along." A flicker of guilt crossed her eyes. She still tried to explain. "I just saw it in your desk once. Later, after you left, I saw it in the desk of the person in front of me." "Don't say any more." My voice was calm, without a trace of emotion. Sophia's eyelashes trembled. "This was the birthday gift you were originally going to give me, right? But why didn't you give it to me that night? Why do you think? Did you misunderstand that Mason and I were together?" I frowned, fighting back my irritation. She became anxious. "I only recently figured out why you suddenly started avoiding me. I'm sorry, but I really wasn't with Mason. I don't know why the school rumors spread like that. The person I've always liked is you." "Enough," I interrupted. She looked at me cautiously. I gave a sarcastic laugh. "Stop playing the innocent victim. You were right there. How many times were you teased about being a couple with Mason? You know exactly how many times." I just thought everyone was joking." "Yeah, joking. So when everyone said I was your and Mason's little follower, your sidekick, your servant, you thought it was a joke too? And you even laughed along." Sophia's face turned pale. "It's not like that." "It's not? Then what is it like?" Eva's sarcastic voice came from behind me. I turned to see Eva smiling at me. "Ryan, you're 5 minutes late. There goes your perfect attendance bonus for the month." I took a deep breath and glared at the cause of my troubles. Sophia lowered her head. "Ryan, your attendance bonus. I'll pay for it. My employee. Is he your concern?" Eva shot a disdainful look at Sophia. "Little girl, your tricks might work on a fool like Ryan, but they're not good enough for me." Sophia frowned. "What happens between him and me is none of your business." Getting defensive, getting worked up, feeling guilty. "Boss." I looked at Eva, signaling her to tone it down. But she paid me no mind. "You don't actually believe her when she says she didn't know, do you?" Do you really think she couldn't see that frenemy of hers liked her? She knew you and that frenemy both liked her, but she pretended not to know. She enjoyed your quiet, humble adoration while also basking in the envy she got from the most popular guy in school liking her. You don't want a woman like that. Eva called him a frenemy, and Sophia's face soured. I was genuinely worried they would start fighting right there at the company entrance. But Eva, not holding back at all, patted my shoulder with a serious tone. Just think about all the times that frenemy framed you. She couldn't even see through his schemes. If she couldn't see through them, then you're better off without a woman like that. She paused. Then again, of course, if she could see through them and still play dumb, then you definitely don't want her. Boss, I know you're amazing. I get it. As long as you get it, you two can chat. I'm going to work. You don't have to report your plans to me. Once Eva left, Sophia seemed to come back to life. She looked at me lost. Ryan, it's not like she said. I really didn't know back then. I was only with Mason because I thought he was your friend. I only became friends with him because of you. Excuse me, I have to get to work. The time Mason fell down the stairs, I didn't fully believe him either. It's just that you were ignoring me, and I was angry. So it's all everyone else's fault, and you're completely blameless. Is that it? Well, you're right. You did nothing wrong. Liking you was my problem. I have absolutely no responsibility to manage my emotions just because I liked you. Ryan, a glimmer of light flashed in her eyes, but I cut her off with a cold face. Sophia, I used to like you, but I don't anymore. I hope we can part on good terms. Impossible. I don't believe you. Believe it or not. I was about to leave when her eyes turned red. You don't want me anymore, Ryan? I gave you so many chances in the past because I liked you. I gave others so many chances to hurt me. Now, I don't want to wrong myself anymore. Throw the scarf away. It wasn't for you. Sophia's face turned completely white. Sophia and Mason were either perfectly in sync or had planned it. Sophia came to find me in the morning, and Mason came to find Eva in the afternoon. I couldn't for the life of me figure out what Mason wanted with Eva. Out of sheer curiosity, I gathered my courage and went to eavesdrop at the break room. But as soon as I got close, I heard Mason bad-mouthing me. Ryan is really lucky. His looks are average, his family background is average, and his education is average. But he managed to get a great beauty from the legal world to do all this for him. Kid, how old are you to be so good at playing games? Were you some kind of manipulator in your past life? Mason was choked with anger. Ms. Eva, you like him? Don't you feel like you're lowering yourself? It's people like you who have such thoughts that are cheap. Whoever you like must be blind. Eva's mouth was truly venomous. The contrast made me realize how gently she usually scolded me, just calling me stupid. But speaking of which, if it weren't for you and Sophia's mother conspiring to have my mother fired and driven out of Beverly Hills, Ryan wouldn't have changed schools, and this whole butterfly effect wouldn't have happened, and he wouldn't have met me. So I should really thank you, you little frenemy. What? My mother leaving her job and moving to Austin was Mason's doing? Ms. Eva, it seems you found out a lot. You really do like him, but I don't understand. You and Sophia, why do you like him? Are you consulting me? My consultation fees are very high. $10,000 a question. I usually bill by the second when I talk to people. I'm giving you a discount today. Eva, are you insane? I was still reeling from the revelation about my mother's job. When Mason suddenly opened the door, he ran right into me. Mason glared at me and stormed off in a rage. My eyes met Eva's in the meeting room. I remembered she hadn't denied liking me earlier and felt a pang of guilt. I was about to slip away when Eva called me back. Where are you running? Got some nerve eavesdropping. Boss, I was wrong. Is there anything you want to ask? Yes. She raised an eyebrow. Why did Mason come to see you? You just said you'd done all this. What did you do? That's what you're curious about. I nodded. TSK. Your brain. What was I expecting? She paused, then said irritably, what happened between you and her at the hot spring? I had my sister record it. I just sent the recording to that Rockwell girl. I was surprised. How did she get a recording so quickly? You knew he was going to frame me. How do you know him so well? TSK. Who knows him? I just understand how people with devious minds work, right? She was starting to praise herself again. I hadn't heard from Mason or Sophia for a long time. I was so busy with work that I had almost forgotten about them. But one day, Eva suddenly handed me her phone and showed me a video. It turned out that Sophia and Mason's families had arranged an engagement party for them. But Sophia didn't show up. She only left a pre-recorded video. In it, she looked drunk and abandoning her long-cultivated image of an ice queen, declared that she would rather die than marry a frenemy like Mason. Many people had come to the engagement party, and her stunt made Mason lose a tremendous amount of face. I heard they had a huge fight after the party, and their childhood friendship finally ended on a sour note. On my way home from work, I ran into Sophia near my apartment. I didn't want to deal with her, but she came up and grabbed my hand. "Ryan, please give me one more chance. I'll be good to you from now on, I promise. I've only ever liked you." I felt helpless. "Sophia, I told you I don't like you." "Ryan, you dare be polite to me one more time?" A sinister voice came from behind me. It was Eva. "What are you doing here?" Eva glared at me, ignoring my question, and looked at Sophia. "He's mine. Get your paws off him." I have to admit, Eva was quite intimidating. Sophia became much more docile. Eva stood in front of me, looking at me. "When are you going to stand up for yourself?" She glared at me so intensely that I started to doubt myself. I felt if I didn't say something, she wouldn't let me off the hook. Beside us, Sophia was still looking at me. I was silent for a long moment, then looked up at her seriously. "Sophia, get lost. I don't want to see you again. The sight of you makes me sick." Sophia's face turned pale. In front of another woman, she felt an unprecedented sense of humiliation. "Are you serious?" "Very serious." Sophia looked utterly defeated. As soon as she left, Eva let out a tisk. "Did you have to say get lost so gently? I know this personality of mine isn't very likable. A lot of people hate it, but I can't help it. This is who I am. What can I do?" "You don't hate it?" I was surprised. She answered with a serious face. "At least I don't." My heart suddenly started beating very fast. What was happening? I suddenly thought of the question I had ignored before, and on an impulse, I blurted out, "Boss, are you in love with me? Isn't it obvious? Why was it that some people could admit they like someone with such pride, while I used to be so ashamed? Why do you like me?" Like Mason said, I have nothing to offer. Tisk, whatever he says goes? Why are you so easily manipulated by people? She paused, her tone shifting. "But I like you just the way you are." "A wimp." "A wimp?" Seeing me stare at her, she looked uncharacteristically embarrassed and turned my head away. "Your personality, it's not so bad. The world has to allow some people to be quiet and clumsy. Then why are you always trying to change me?" "I'm not trying to change you. I just hope that when you encounter problems, you don't always wrong yourself." My heart skipped another beat. I looked down at her under the dim moonlight. The woman's eyes were sincere. "You can be quiet, you can be dull, but you cannot let people bully you." I don't know how much time passed under the moonlight. My weak voice spoke up. "Boss, you used to scold me all the time. I have some psychological trauma from it. Then I won't scold you anymore. Will you reconsider then? Can I take a long time to consider? How long do you want?" "I don't know." I didn't agree to Eva's proposal to date that night. I had just graduated, and the social status gap between me and Eva was too large. I was afraid it would be like before, always looking up at someone and ending up feeling inferior. "Boss, I'll work hard to catch up to you." Eva chuckled from behind her computer. "Ryan, I'm a genius and you're a mediocrity. How could you possibly catch up to me in this lifetime?" "Boss, didn't you say you wouldn't scold me anymore?" "Is that scolding?" "I'm just telling the truth. Is that not allowed?" "Fine, I was wrong. I promise I won't say it again. You said the same thing yesterday." "Ryan, you're pushing your luck. I usually only let my boyfriend push his luck with me." "Boss, I'm going back to work. Dinner together tonight." "Okay." Eva smiled slightly. "Go on.